The Isle. Hunt, prey, survive. The Isle is known for its dinosaur-like gameplay. But there are 3 mutant strains coming out to the Isle, some are already in, that are going to change this forever. I would like to talk about the 3 strains, the hyperendocrine, the neurotinic, and the tissoplastic, each representing their own different abilities and skill sets. Now there's 3 godlike beings coming to the Isle that's going to change it forever. These 3 creatures are going to represent their strains. Now before we get into that, I'd kind of like to talk about what each of the 3 strains are. Like I said before, we have hyperendocrine, we have neurotinic, and we have tissoplastic. Now the hyperendocrine is the first known mutant strain. It will increase the dinosaur's size and mass, making it a nearly unkillable monster. Also, all of these strains are highly intelligent, so if you think the hyperendocrine isn't an intelligent strain, then you're wrong. Each of these strains make them much more intelligent than their normal counterparts. Now, just as an example, the Hypo Utah Raptor is going to be known for opening doors, and it's going to be able to come inside the building and probably slaughter everyone inside that building. It's going to be horrible. The Hypo strain is going to basically be the big boys of the Isle. It will increase the dinosaur's size and mass, making it a nearly unkillable monster. They're going to have insatiable hunger and also a very high metabolism. They're going to have to constantly be eating to survive. They have very fast health regeneration. They have a massive health boost, and they have thick armor/skin on their body. So if anything does try to attack them, it's going to mitigate the damage very well. Also, based on the latest update, the Hypos are probably going to be faster than their normal counterparts. The Hypo Rex is currently the fastest creature in the game. It could change in the future though. Moving on to the second known mutant strain, the neurotinic strain, is known to have a much higher intelligence. Smaller than a hypo, but bigger than its normal counterparts based on the neurospino just added. The neurotinic has the ability to talk to any species. It has the ability to use telekinesis. As far as we know, some of these abilities might not be added, but this is some of the original designed, concept for the Neuro. The Neuro has the ability to release an EMP blast, at least the Neurospino does. Each of the Neuros might have different sort of abilities. We just know that they're highly intelligent and they're most likely going to be able to talk to different species. And also the Neurospino is going to have weather manipulation. We don't know if any of these traits are going to cross over between the other Neuros or not. And some of them even might be able to affect your mind, making you see things that aren't there, or mimicking the voices and or sounds of its prey to lure in other prey. We don't really know what this is limited to, but it's basically going to be the trickster class. It's going to do anything and everything in its ability to lure you in. Now, the third known mutant strain is the tissoplastic. It's known for its camouflage abilities. That's going to bring in more stealth-based and assassin-based gameplay to the Isle. Now, there's already stalking your prey and stuff like that, but the tissoplastic is going to take this to a whole new level. It's probably going to be smaller than the hyper strain, but not much is known about its size. I would say it's probably going to be about the same size as the neurotinic, or maybe even the same size as its normal vanilla counterparts, maybe even smaller. We do know that they're going to have sleeker bodies and they're going to be based on speed and stealth. Now, it says the tissoplastic, or at least as far as we know, has the ability of invisibility. We don't know if this is actually invisibility or if it's some sort of camouflage ability, which I guess is technically kind of the same thing. It's going to have its speed increase dramatically, and it's going to have probably a small boost in health. I'm guessing it's probably also going to have a lot of stamina as well. Now that we've explained what the 3 strains are, I would like to get more into the 3 godlike beings being added to the Isle. Now, no one knows if these 3 creatures are going to be playable. I'm assuming we'll probably see it being played by Dondi and the other devs of the Isle, but we have no idea based on the storyline or anything if there's a way to obtain or achieve this sort of, milestone in the game. Now, the first thing up is the Hypo Colossus. This thing is going to be the biggest creature in the Isle as far as I'm aware. It's going to dwarf the Puerta. Any sort of art I show right here, the Colossus is actually smaller than it's intended to be. Apparently, it can pick up and carry a Puerta on its shoulder. It's basically going to be the King Kong of the Isle, if I could represent it to another, franchise. The Hyperendocrine Colossus represents the Hypo strain. It appears to be a large reptilian humanoid It has a dark green back, a white front, and 2 large red stripes going along its head. Its face slightly resembles that of a crocodile's. It also possesses a large mane made up of hair-like substance. It has fairly large arms, longer than its entire body. It has large reptilian feet and a small tail. Now, we've seen this from Tapwing, where he'd done a concept art of it in a quadruped stance, but we don't know if it's going to have a quadruped stance. All we've seen from official concept art is the bipedal stance. So it could stand upright. It could also have a quadruped stance. We don't know its abilities or way it's going to work, but I'm assuming it's probably going to be able to pick up, throw, and just basically destroy anything in the aisle. It's going to wreak havoc and probably just going to wipe everything out of existence. We don't really know the purpose of any of these creatures. If you guys have any idea of the purpose and what you think they would be used for in the aisle, then let me know down below. I'd really like to hear about it. Now, next up is we have the Tissoplastic Reaper, also known as the First or the Gargoyle. It represents the Tissoplastic strain. It appears as a humanoid bat-like creature and is mostly a color of gray. It has a beak-like mouth and 2 large bat-like ears. Its back covered in sharp fur. There are a few bright green spots on its body and limbs. There's a large spike at the end of both of its arms. Now, this creature, you can see, it looks like, based on this art, that it's just sliced something. There's a little bit of blood. It looks like maybe it has some sort of poison abilities based on the green goo that's coming off of its blade. We do know that it's based on stealth and camouflage, so I'm guessing the way this strikes is it's going to strike you, disappear, and then you're going to die a very slow, painful death if it doesn't actually finish you off in the first shot. Now, it does appear like a gargoyle or some sort of bat creature. We don't know if it has any sort of ability to glide or fly, but it is going to be camouflaged and it is going to do a lot of damage. We also don't know the purpose of this creature either. All 3 of these creatures I'm talking about don't really seem to have a purpose as of yet that we know of, but obviously they're adding them to the aisle for a reason. Maybe just to represent their strains or to be like some sort of ultimate creatures added in the aisle. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about before I get into some theories and ideas of why these are in the aisle, we're going to talk about the Neurotenic Mastermind, also known as Echidna, Mother of Cannibals. It appears to represent the Neurotenic strain. The Neurotenic Mastermind is one of the most alien-looking creatures in the aisle. Like its other counterparts, it is humanoid. Other than a few blue veins, the Neurotenic Mastermind has pale-colored skin. One of the most disturbing features is that the creature has no face. Its arms also end in large claws instead of fingers, and its legs have a few tentacle-like appendages coming out of them. Now, what this reminds me most of is Mind Flayers. They were evil and sadistic beings feared by sentient creatures on many worlds across the multiverse. They basically fed on your memories, personality, and fear. Now, the reason this reminds me of it is because the Neurotenic Mastermind is based on like psychic powers, sort of. It's going to instill fear in you. It's going to instill memories and or ideas that aren't actually there. It's going to, I guess, mimic voices and or sounds. It's basically going to be the ultimate mindfucker. Also, it is called the Mastermind, which makes me think of hive mind. Does the Neurotenic Mastermind control all other creatures in the aisle? Does it have a hive mind with all the neuros? You know, how is it connected? We don't really know. Now, going into this, all 3 of the creatures are humanoid. They're bipedal creatures, and we do know that all the strains, when added to a dinosaur, is based on an existing dinosaur. They didn't come out from nowhere. So what I think, and I think other people actually think, is these are based on humans. The Mastermind, the Reaper, and also the Colossus might be test experiments based on humans, and they are the ultimate form and or final experiment of their kind. They're probably also maybe the first one that was successful, and maybe it went out of control in a lab somewhere, and now they're loose upon the world. We don't really know, but there's a lot of theories out there on how this works and how it's going to work in the aisle. But the lore behind this is absolutely crazy, and I can't wait to get to play any sort of these creatures. Now, all 3 of the strains are going to have dinosaurs that you can play in the future. As for the heads of these strains, these creatures I've talked about, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I don't know if you'll actually see them in the aisle. I mean, we do know that Echidna has already been kind of planned, and there's been a lot of talk about Echidna. As for the Colossus, there hasn't been a whole lot of talk about it, and same for the Reaper. So I don't really know, to be honest. Tell me what you guys think down below. Like, there could be a lot of ideas. They could be based on humanoids. You know, like, it really could just be anything, to be honest. Okay, guys, I'm going to go and call it here. Hopefully you enjoyed my theory, I guess, / speculation video, and also talking about what each of the different strains are. If you did enjoy the video, and if you have any suggestions and or comments and or opinions about it, there's the comment section below. But yeah, if you enjoyed, make sure to smash the like button. I love your faces, and I'll see you guys in the next one.